Welcome everybody to Yoga with the Phoenix. Lovely to have you aboard. Today's class we're going to explore Yin Yoga specifically for lower back, and I hope you enjoy. The premise here is that yoga is really for everyone, particularly in yoga, and so it doesn't matter how old you are, right? It doesn't matter where you're from. Right, doesn't matter your color, doesn't matter anything, right, apart from Yin Yoga. So we're in beautiful Western Australia right now, right, and I'm sitting here in the yoga room, right, and we've got the doors open. It's a beautiful summer's day here, right. I hope you're enjoying yourselves. So the first thing that we do, right, in my classes is we start the class with a 3-Om mantra. It's just a really lovely way to get the class started. So if we just bring our hands into Namaskar, this is a mudra, right, called Namaskar, right, then we're going to get on with the class. So if you take a nice big deep breath in, bring our hands down onto our knees, sitting nice and tall. I'm sitting on a block, so I find that easier on my hips because otherwise my knees would be up here. So you can find a block or a book if you want, right? You don't have a block. You can also have a pillow handy and perhaps a towel. If you're lucky enough like me to have a bolster, then that's also a useful thing to have in Yin Yoga. So just allowing the breath to move in and out of the body, nice and gentle. Excuse me. Nice and gentle, allowing yourself to just come into this moment. Feeling the energy that's you inside the body. Enjoying yourself for what you are. And as I said, in society we have a lot of problems nowadays with lower back pain. And because we sit down a lot, right, we're constantly looking at computers, driving, right, hunched forward like this, sitting, right, causes a lot of imbalances in the body. And so with Yin Yoga, we try and what we're practicing is taking those imbalances out. And from an energetic perspective, we use a lot of the Chinese philosophies when it comes to meridian lines, and this is a physical class rather than an energetic one, but we'll still be using a bit of that. So how I like to describe the difference between Yin and Yang Yoga, this here, right, is Yang Yoga, right? So I've got my finger, or my muscles on my finger, right, and pressing against it, and this is Yin. So I hope you can see that. Yang, strong in the muscle, protecting the joint. Yin. No muscle on, so our aim basically is to just let go of the muscle contraction and allow the stimulus to move into the fascia of the body, the connective tissue. So the first shape that we're going to take is just a reclined butterfly, right? We're going to use a bolster, right, if you've got one, or you can use a blanket, right, if you've got, or a towel, which I've got over there, but as I say, I'm fortunate to have a bolster, so I'm going to use one. So the bolster is just taken along behind our back. So you want to have it lying basically, along the spine like this. And then all you're going to do is just come down across the bolster. Now once you're here, you can stay here if you wish, if that feels good for you. If it's really strong into the lower back, then you can lift your buttocks onto the bolster a little bit more, and that'll take a bit of the stress out of the lower back. Right, if you're really happy with that, then you can bring the feet out, and so that you get full stretch through the front fascia and through the rectus abdominis. Right, and then you can take the hands out to wherever they feel comfortable, and that way we're getting a nice big stretch across the front part of the body. And then just gently breathing into that. Now if you want to get a little bit more in the hips, you can come into the butterfly version of this, which means bringing your feet together, your soles of your feet together like this. And then just allowing that posture to develop. So you don't have to do anything, there is nothing to do. Just allow yourself to feel the posture. Allow yourself to come into the pose. Gently breathing into the posture. So I want you to stay in this posture for around about 4 minutes. Don't just stay here. I will get up and down through the postures just to instruct you in it, and keep an eye on the time. So don't mind what I do once you're in the posture. Just stay in the posture to the best of your ability for the period of time that we're going to take, which is around about 3 minutes in this pose. So the premise of Yin Yoga, right, is there's only really 3 things that we need to know about Yin Yoga, 2.5, 3 things that we need to know about yoga, Yin Yoga. The first of these is that we come to a shape that suits us. That shape suited me nicely. I was feeling it stretch down here, getting compression to the lumbar section, right, opening up my heart and enjoying the pose. The second thing that we need to know about Yin Yoga, right, is that we make a resolution. So this is important. This is the challenging part. We make a resolution to stay still in the posture. The essence of Yin Yoga is stillness. So we want to stay still in the mind, right, and in the physical as well, in the body too. This is challenging for us. This is where the challenge of Yin Yoga is. Very challenging for us to do this. Make a resolution, and it's a practice like any other practice. And by the way, practice doesn't make perfect, it makes us more practiced. So just allow yourself to develop into the posture here. Now the third tattva, reality in Yin Yoga, is time. So we hold the postures for a much longer period of time than we would do in any other form of yoga that you may have practiced. Right, and that's for a number of reasons, and I'll go through those as we develop the class. Just allowing yourself this moment in time and space. Okay. Then, once you've finished with that posture, we're now just going to come out gently. You might like to lift the knees up with the hands. Just take the legs out in front of you, right? And then we're just going to roll up onto our mats, and we're going to come into a counter posture, right? And this posture is called caterpillar. Right, now this is a counter posture to the one that we've just done, and this is going to open the back up in this way. Just letting it. You don't have to force anything. It's not Bandha Konasana, right, which we would be pulling on a chest forward in yang. But here we're just letting the body come to its own space. And the hands, well, wherever you feel comfortable, right, with the hands, is that's where you want them to be. And then just let the posture develop, let the head drop down. Just gently letting the head fall down. Letting the body open up here. Gently breathing. We've made a commitment now to stay in the posture for 3 minutes. Make your resolution. I never wondered why people's New Year's resolutions, they don't work. Right? Oh, I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to lose 20 kilos. How many times have you heard that from people before? You know, we're just going to do that. It's going to be easy, right? But it's not. And one of the reasons is that they're not practiced in small things. They haven't made the resolve. We need to make the resolve for us to be practiced in the larger one. So if we make a resolution, right, and we stick to it for 2 minutes, then we've done that. Then we're becoming more practiced. And then in time, once we make this, the body becomes accustomed to this, our mind becomes accustomed to this. Then, right, we might be able to use the resolution to say, hey, I'm going to lose that 20 kilos now. I'm going to drop that 20 kilos now. And it doesn't have to be the 1st of January, by the way. All right, so just gently breathing into this. Breathing here. And now slowly coming out of the posture. Taking a few moments to just sit up, feel the energy in the body, feel the energy. Move your bolster or your blanket or whatever you were using out of the way. And we're going to take what we call a rebound. And we use a number of postures for a rebound. And this one is Shavasana, right? It's used all the time in every form of yoga. And basically corpse pose, all we're going to do is lie back. Lie back, right, and allow yourself to just enjoy yourself. The breath is moving in and out of the body. The eyes are gently closed. The feet fall open. And the whole body is just gently relaxing here. So we're absorbing the postures. And that's why it's called a rebound, because we're rebounding from the posture. Good. All right, so we're going to take a gentle twist into the body now. So we've worked the back, forward, backward. Backward bending, by the way, is so important. So important to do backward bending nowadays for people that sit forward most of the time with their chin poked forward. So I'm going to give you some options here. Right, so the first one is just to bring your feet up, find where your mat is, and then drop both over to the right hand side. That's your first spot. That's your first one here. You can shuffle the hip under to find where you're feeling it. The hands can come out to wherever you want. Option one. And that's fine. You can use bolsters to support yourself if you want, or just stay here in the pose. Option two is to take the right leg up over the left, right, and then drop them both over to the right hand side. Right, now this is a little bit more. You will get a bit more in this posture, and as I say, if you're finding it quite challenging, you can get your bolster, support, block, whatever it is, right, and place it under the knee like that, and then that rests there. Swivel it round, so now you're resting here if you want. Just an option. Right, okay. Find your stillness now. Just see if there's anything clenching in the body, right? If there's anything that you're holding on to. Just drop into the body. Just see if there's anything that's holding on for you here. And if you find that, you find a sticky area, then you can move a little bit. There's a couple of caveats to stillness in the yin pose. And the first is, right, if you find, like I just did then, that the body's giving me a little bit more, it's allowing me a little bit more because I've held for a little while, fascia is stretching, then I can take that invitation to move deeper into the posture. Just breathing here. But it's only just going to take the legs up to the central position now, and then just bring your pelvis back so you're squared off a little bit, and take the same posture right on the other side. So if you took this one, take this on the right hand side, take it on the left. Right, so I did twisting roots, which is the posture that you just saw me doing, right? So I'm going to take that on the left hand side, right? So taking the left leg over the right, shuffling the pelvis under a little bit, and then dropping the pelvis down. Just move that bolster out of the way so you can see. I must admit my bias is not using props, right, in Yin Yoga, but that's me, right, and Yin Yoga is very much an individualistic thing. The aesthetics of the posture are not important, so we're not really concerned about what the posture looks like. It doesn't really matter. What does matter, what really matters, is you getting the benefit out of the posture. Just feeling the posture and getting what you're getting. And for me right now, I'm getting a lot of stretch down this side of my leg here. Right, I've been a fairly serious triathlete in my time, and runner, and ITB, you know, the iliotibial band is often tight in people that have done that or do that. So if you are a runner, this is a really good practice for you, this one, just stretching down the side of the leg and twisting through the back. So you might be getting it differently to me, and that's fine, it doesn't have, you know, we're not looking for exactly the same, because we're not exactly the same, and each and every one of us is different, dramatically different, but also the same too. Just allowing it. Once again, I'm feeling that I've got a little bit more in my body now, so I'm just moving a little bit to get a little bit more into the fascia. So the fascia is a fascinating subject, and the Chinese have told us for thousands of years that there's meridian lines or flow lines that run through the body, right, that carry energy or chi, life force. In yogic practice, it's called prana, right, in Indian yogic practice. Either way, the philosophies are quite similar, and Western science is catching up now and developing and understanding fascia much more, realizing that it's an energy runs through fascia, and it's a communication system, very much like the Indian yogis have been telling us for a couple of thousand years. Just allowing this posture to develop here and letting it go soon. And then bring it up, take the legs out, bring their hands down, shuffle the pelvis under, close the eyes if they weren't already, Shavasana, and relax. Okay, I better not fall asleep, eh? Right, so we're just going to gently come out of that posture, perhaps wriggle the toes and the fingers. If you want to take a little bit of movement through the spine, as you can see, we've manipulated the spine front, back, and a little bit of side now. So we're still following forward with that, right? So we're going to do a little bit something a bit different now. So take your time just to come up nice and easy, coming up out of that posture. And then we're just going to swing ourselves around so that we're coming into, we're going to come into cat-cow, right? So you can't have yin without yang, and you can't have yang without yin. So we're just going to allow ourselves a few moments here, just gently moving through the spine, allowing and pushing the synovial fluids through the areas that we've worked. Nice and gentle. Okay. Now, a lot of our problems, right, with lower back pain nowadays are caused by weakness or tightness in the hamstrings. And the hamstrings are 3 muscles that run down the back of the leg. And so the next posture that we're going to do is going to address that tightness. So you might like to flop backwards and sideways to this. Is just going to address that and get a little bit of relief into your hamstrings here. Okay. So what we do here is we just come up and take the leg forward. Right, from here, let the leg drop down, right, and allow the head to drop over. Now, if you feel that's a bit much for you, right, it's a bit strong, then you can just take a bolster, hold onto a bolster, let the head drop down. It doesn't matter what you look like. Remember, I'm just wanting to get the energy, right, in the back of the leg. Let the head go. Now, in Yin Yoga, it's a very emotive process, and it will bring up all sorts of emotions. Some of them not so pretty, some pretty, right? But the pretty ones are just as important as the unpretty ones, or vice versa. In fact, we generally learn more from the ones that perhaps not as pretty as we want them to be. So if it's stirring up some anger or some discontentment, your frustration perhaps, why do I have to stay here for so long? This is what we want. This is actually necessary so that we can learn ourselves. Once again, just allowing the head to drop down a little bit deeper for me now. The reason that we need to hold this so long, as I said, we're working with the fascia here. So the fascia responds to stress differently to the muscle. Yes, and I did say stress. Because stress is important, right? So we think in the West that we've got this negative connotation about, I'm so stressed. Well, we have to be stressed, right? We need stress. Without stress, we wouldn't be able to stand up. It's not that's the problem. The problem is unwarranted, persistent stress. Stress from sitting in a traffic jam 3 hours a day. Stress from the computer crashing and you halfway through a project. These are stresses that are not doing us any good because they trigger the flight or fight response, and this is not a bad thing in itself either. But if it's triggered all the time, then we just get pretty much out of balance, right? Our hormones become unbalanced, right? Our emotions become unbalanced, and we then develop dis-ease in the body. It manifests itself that way. Yin Yoga is a practice that will do the opposite to that, and that's one of the beautiful things about it. Okay, we're just going to come out of that, right? And rather than move directly into a rebound, we're going to come into another posture, which is going to transfer the energy more up into the glutamus. So all you want to do now is take the foot this way, and right, take the right leg forward. Right, get yourself a block if you need to, right, and place or a bolster or a blanket or whatever, and place it under the butt like this if you're finding that the butt's not coming down to the ground. Taking a couple of moments here and then just bringing the head down, and you can place the head on the hands, and then just let yourself be here. And this in Yin Yoga is called Sleeping Swan. Stillness in the mind. Stillness in the body. Okay, so we're just going to slip out of that, take our foot down, and then we're just going to take a rebound on the side, on the tummy. Oh, lovely. Coming down onto your hands like this. This is actually a posture. This posture is called crocodile, right? And it's a very mild background. So if you're working with people, if I'm working with people that have issues, not everybody, but lots of people got issues in lower back, depends on how extreme. So if we've got somebody with an extreme Belgian disc or something like this, we wouldn't do any of the real deep back bends, we would just tend to do this kind of work. So this may be enough for you. We are going to come into a fairly deep posture, a back bend next, before we move into the other side with the hamstrings and the glutes. Okay, lovely. Just coming out of that pose, and then we're just going to slip our left leg forward, and we just want to find where we can come to. You might be sitting up a lot more than me. You'll be different to me. So look, I sometimes use a bolster, sometimes I don't, right, to just hold, just to place my hands. Depends on the day, really. It depends on how my day is, right? Whether it's first thing in the morning or not. This is a beautiful Western Australian summer's day. And, we were filming this in my studio called the Yoga Room, and behind you see a meditation garden. So in forthcoming YouTube videos, we'll be doing some work there, and I hope you enjoy the environment. So just let the head go and allow yourself to drop into here. Don't mind me with I'm tending to practice with you guys. It is yoga with the Phoenix, but also I'm mindful to teach the practice, and so sometimes I'm just looking at a clock that's behind me to keep me more or less right. If you're wondering what I'm looking at, and I got to try and keep the time more or less correct for each side. You guys don't have to think about anything, just the posture, just the sensations that are occurring in the body, what emotions are rushing through the mind, and just remembering that the thoughts will come and go. We're not trying to stop the thoughts in any way, we're just accepting them for what they are. realizing that we are not our thoughts. They don't define us unless we allow them to. So every moment of the day we're making choices. And those choices determine where we are going next with our lives. And so everybody is in a space that they actually created themselves through the choices they made in the past. Alright, just coming out of that, and we're going to come into Sleeping Swan. I actually changed my mind, right, with the deep back bend. I was going to do it in between these two, but I've decided to do it this way round, right? So a little bit of change. I'm allowed to. It's a man's prerogative to change their mind. I don't know why it's a woman's prerogative, or a man's for that matter. Don't we all change our mind? All right, so I'm just going to come into Sleeping Swan again, right? So just I've got the block under my buttocks on the left hand side. I find that that's better for me. I don't need to come past my edge as I would do in a yang practice. And I do teach yang postures as well, put some of them up too from classes. So we're just going to come up there, right, and drop down over it again here. Just got about 30 seconds or so to go in this posture, staying nice and still. Good. Just gently coming out of that pose now and coming back into crocodile again for a rebound, and and then we'll take the next one, I promise. I won't change my mind again. Taking a nice rebound here. Alright, the next pose that we're going to take is called Sphinx pose. Right, so Sphinx pose is this, I'm doing it now. Right, so basically you just want to have your elbows underneath your shoulders. However, that's just kind of, this is just an invitation, remember. Right, if this is too strong for you, you can take your elbows out further like this and then hold it here. Or if it's really strong, you can come down here or here like we did before. Conversely, if you want to get a little bit more into the posture, then you can get something like a bolster and then come up here like this. Nice, strong now. Bit too strong for me, right? But then I could leave the bolster where it is and then just come down like this and stay here. This is good, this is fine. So it really is about you, right? It's not about me. It's not about, you know, what I look like or how I approach this shape. It's about you, right? This is a very individualistic practice, but that doesn't make it selfish, quite the reverse. Yoga is for everybody, and what I mean by that is for people that don't do yoga. Because if you're the best that you can be, then everybody around you, your family and your loved ones, are going to be feeding off that. And they feed off it, and their friends feed off them, and on it goes, like throwing the pebble into the still pond. The ripple effect goes on forever. And so the more people that we can get to join us in our quest to alleviate some of the pain in the world now, the more people that get the benefit out of yoga, the better. So never feel that, you know, just what it's about you. It is, but it's much deeper than that. And everyone's a teacher. Not just me sitting at the front doing this or in front of a camera. You're a teacher too. Just feeling that posture develop into the back, allowing the front body to open up, letting the belly drop out. Good, fabulous. Just gently coming out of that. Right, we're going to take just a rebound in child's pose. Now with child's pose, right, as you can see, my butt doesn't really get onto my heels in child. So what I need to do is find something supportive for my head, which is this. And so for child, for me, is this. And you might be a lot more flexy, you probably are than I am. And your butt might get onto your heels and then you don't need this. You can be like this, with your butt on the heels, of course. And then just allowing yourself to be in child. We're just taking a rebound here in child's pose.
allowing the back to open up after that very deep back bend. Sphinx is one of the deepest ones. Let the shoulders drop down, let the whole back open up, just feel that, allowing the healing to take place. And in yoga we create tourniquets in the body, closing down particular areas from the synovial fluids or bloods, and then opening up, which is what we've done. So it's a bit like the hose and the tap's on, and there's a crease in the hose. Then as soon as you let the crease go, you get a rush of water through the hose, and the hose heals. Well, it's not as simple as that with the body, but it's similar. And it's used in yin and yang all the time. Alright, so now what we're going to do is you're just going to come into a shavasana. Right, so you can use a bolster underneath your knees if you wish. You know, a lot of people like this, particularly if they've got tightness in the hamstrings. This is a good place to be. I've got a cord running here from a mic here, so maybe I'll invest in a directional mic. Right, coming down here, taking the hands out and relax. That's just allow yourself. This is your final shavasana. Make sure you just let the mind be nice and still here. Follow the breath in and out of the body. So what about next? Right here, right now. Slowly starting to bring some movement into the body now. Wiggling the toes and the fingers, coming back to this space. Taking a stretch. Slowly coming up. You can come into a fetal posture first if that feels good for you. And then once you're feeling comfortable, then coming up into a seated posture. Once again, if you like to sit on something, then that's fine. We're just going to come here and be with the body right now. I want you to feel yourself internally, feel from the inside, feel the energy which is you. You can feel it. Lift the spine, a bit of strength in the spine, holding the tummy in just a touch. Bring the hands to Namaskar. We'll seal the practice as we do with a 3-Om mantra, taking a nice big deep breath in. Om.
Keep the prayer with the heart center. May we have love in our hearts. Bring the prayer to the lips. May we have truth in our speech. Bring the prayer to the forehead. May we have gratitude in the mind. Bring the prayer back down to the heart center by the head. Namaste. Thank you for joining me in Yin Yoga. Hopefully we'll see you soon. If you loved it, right, just click subscribe and we'll go from there. Thank you once again. All my love to you guys. Bye bye.